What's up, guys? Brad Chappell back with you. The month of March is here. It's time to go out, catch some of these monster crappie. They're getting ready to spawn. Plus, some of them are already spawning. So I got 3 setups here I believe is going to help you catch more fish during the month of March. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and tell your buddies about it. Let's get it.
In the flatland like a man.
All right, guys, my first setup for the month of March is going to be live scoping open water suspended crappie. Now, this is the time that I want to kind of ease up to them, present them a large size bait. You don't hear me say that too often, but the month of March is a time to upsize and use these bigger baits. Bobby Garland has a perfect style for that. It's the 2.25 slab hunter, and it's just a dynamic bait that I've got on here. Now, I'm using the new B&M Black Diamond 18 foot. The reason being is these fish are a little higher in the water column and they can be very spooky this time of the year. So I want to reach out as far away from the boat as possibly as I can and reach out and touch them to say. Now the setup itself is I'm using a bobber stop up top, a 3/8 ounce tungsten weight. It's a bullet style weight, and 2 bobber stops on the bottom. Now you might ask why I have it pointing down. I'm facing it down so it creates the less amount of disturbance going into the water. So I'm facing that bullet weight down just like I'm gonna present it when it goes into the water. I've got it down about a 12 inches of line tied with a loop knot with a 1/16 ounce Bobby Garland overbite jig head. Now I love the orange in this month, so I'm always going to use orange. This is actually one of the new colors by Bobby Garland in the slab hunter, and that is fried shad. It's a 2.25 inch. This darker color is going to be dynamic in this muddy spring water. Now the line itself is 12-pound fluorocarbon K9 line. I just like it low stretch, able to feel the bites extremely easy, so that's why I like using a fluorocarbon. Plus, it's just flat out tough. All right, guys, my number 2 setup for the month of March is gonna be long line trolling. Now, I've done it for the last 2 months and caught a lot of fish. I'm gonna continue to do it through the spring season. During the spawn is an excellent time to go out there and long line troll. Now I'm gonna pull lighter jigs in a month of March because I want these jigs to go higher in the water column. These fish are starting to move up in the water column. They're very active. So I'm gonna go down to pulling 2 1/16 ounce jig heads. I'm gonna show you something I've been doing for quite a few years now, is actually pouring my own pony style jig heads. And this is a 1/16 with a sickle hook with a big diamond blade on it. Do It Molds has the molds to pour them yourself, and you can create any kind of combination you want from willow leaf to Colorado. But as you can see, I love a willow leaf blade. My preferred speed is still going to be a 1.2, 1.3 even, and get these jigs a little bit higher in the water column. Now these 2 1/16 ounce going about 1.2 using a Bobby Garland stroller, we're going to get you about 8 foot deep. If you need to get a little deeper, slow it down to 1.0, and that should get you around 10 foot deep. But pulling 2 1/16 ounce jig heads is going to get you in that 8 to 10 foot range. Still using the B&M Pro Staff trolling poles. Now this setup, I've got a little bit different this month. I'm using an 8 foot, 12 foot, 16 foot, and 20 foot. So I'm getting a complete 4 foot rod separation with this setup. Now a 20 foot pole is definitely a long pole. But you'll find out in the month of March that these fish are high in the water column and they can be boat shy. So getting far away from the boat is definitely going to help you put more crappie in the boat. So don't be intimidated by these long 20 foot B&M Pro Staff trolling poles. They're going to help you put more fish in the boat. One of the tricks to that technique as far as having a really long pole is you're always going to stop reeling about the same length as the pole. So even though I've got a fish and I'm reeling him in, I'm gonna stop about 20, 25 feet amount of line and then just bring him slowly in. Works really well. Bait of my choice as far as long lining is gonna be the Bobby Garland stroller. Man, let me tell you what, I've caught tons of crappie using the stroller. These seem to work for black crappie, white crappie, but just in general, this is a flat out long lining kitchen jig, is the Bobby Garland stroller, and that is the black and chartreuse. Another really good color that I like to use in springtime is the old Cajun Cricket by Bobby Garland. Kind of the areas I like to target when I'm coming into long line in the month of March is going to be these pre-spawn staging areas. As these fish starting to move up and really get into the areas they want to spawn, they're going to suspend out from them. So in the mouth of these creeks, on points, any kind of little ditch lines leading into some shallow water, I'm gonna really concentrate on pulling those ledges and out in open water in that creek itself and look for these suspended crappie. Long line trolling in the month of March will help you put more fish in the boat, no matter what conditions. Windy days, calm days, it doesn't matter. Get out there in a long line in the month of March. All right guys, my number 3 setup for the month of March is gonna be spider rigging shallow. I'm not gonna use a whole lot of weight. All I'm gonna put on in the line is a single 1/4 ounce Pro Series fin spin. One of the things I really like about these jig heads during the month of March is I can put a minnow on the back if I choose, put some different jig bodies, or just leave it like it is and go through this shallow water. On the line itself, here's my Pro Series jig head, just tied with a loop knot, nothing else above it. Now, if I choose, I can add a split shot 18 inches or so above it, but a lot of days, I'm just want to ease around anywhere from 0.4 to 0.6, just with a single jig head, in anywhere from 3 foot of water all the way out to about 7 or 8. I'll just use a flat out single Pro Series jig head, and like I said, I can add a minnow to the back, different jig bodies, got a blade, going about 0.4 to about 0.7, using a B&M Bucks graphite jig pole. I like using 16 foot all the way across the front of the boat, keeps them away from the boat, very soft tip, and they literally land thousands of fish day after day for a lot of guys across the United States. All right guys, those are my top 3 setups for the month of March. Can't wait to do April. Got some different things lined up for April already in mind. Make sure you join us on Tuesday nights for Today's Bite, live on Facebook, live on YouTube, where we talk about everything you can imagine when it comes to crappie fishing. My host with me is Dustin McDaniel from Oklahoma over at Grand Lake Guide. Great fellow. He has the killer stash you might have recognized already. But make sure you join us on Tuesday nights live, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. Till next time, holla.